Alright, Diablo players, Season 11, let's check out the brand new uniques and the super cool items coming out. We got the brand new Sanctification explained with the brand new Blessing by the High Heavens. And it's very important that you pay attention to this video all the way through because the Sanctification is the final step in your item. Once you sanctify the item, it is permanently like this. So you guys got to make sure that this is the final step. Otherwise, you could brick your item a little bit earlier. It's a brand new system coming out in Season 11. As well as a bunch of brand new uniques that I wanted to go over the brand new stuff for Season 11. So let's go ahead and kick it off with one of the uniques. This is going to be a unique pair of pants called the Death's Pavane. So it gives you dodge chance while channeling Dance of Knives, so obviously it's going to be for Rogue. It also gives you base crit, which is really good over here, so you get 11% chance as the max roll. You also have some movement speed, which is really good. You get ranks to Dance of Knives and agility damage, so that's kind of cool for maybe other mobility builds, but it's pretty much just for Dance of Knives really, because that's what you're scaling here. And then it also gives you Dance of Knives dropping from enemies hit. Picking them up grants you 1 charge and increases your Dance of Knives damage by 20x, and that's the perfect roll for 6 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So basically, that would be times 3, so you get like 60x damage, then you get the base damage. Pretty solid item overall, but there's also kind of something I want to mention. In Season 11, they're making a lot of the elites all way stronger, and Dance of Knives has never really been meta. Is this pants going to make it super S tier? Hopefully this will be enough damage to kind of deal with the elites, as they're going to be stronger, and Dance of Knives is only really a speed variant build. It's never really meant to go for pushing, but who knows, we'll see what they do with this in the future. As far as like buffing it, because everything I'm mentioning is subject to change. Another unique item here, this is going to be a brand new mace over here called Ori's Vein. And what it does is it gives you some int, some max life, non-physical damage, and ranks to core skills. This is pretty cool. And then it also has a really unique effect. It says for each defensive skill not on your action bar, you get 40x increased damage, and then you also gain its associated enchantment effect. So that's actually going to be pretty cool. Let me actually show you guys how good this thing could potentially be. So for the Sorc, we actually have 4 defensive skills, and it gives you 40x, so that should be 160x damage. That is a massive upgrade. Now, I'm going to be straight up, it's still probably worse than Season 10 in terms of like overall DPS for the core skills, but that also means that you get all of the enchantment effects. Now there are some changes to the enchant, so I don't want to read you guys all of these because these can be like updated. I know that for sure that the Frost Nova is getting changed, like it's just a chance to release the Frost Nova, but like some of the other ones like Flame Shield where it automatically activates or your evade gets replaced, like you get all the enchants for kind of for free because you're getting a big amount of damage too. There's probably very few builds that won't be playing this, although you do lose out your chance for like Fireball or whatever to cast 2 times because it doesn't have that. But I don't know if you can get that as the brand new Sanctification, which we will also go over briefly. So these are some items that have been sanctified over here. You can see these are the brand new items coming out in Season 11. And as far as I'm aware of, there are items that you are modifying. So it's not like, as far as I'm aware of, you can get a sanctified drop. So if you guys remember in Season 10, we got the Chaos Uniques, right? And those would just drop. These are items that we take to the High Heavens, and then we are going to sanctify and get it blessed by the High Heavens, which costs a very special form of currency. You can see it costs 1 over here, and the important thing is it gives you 1 random enhancement. Now, these enhancements are going to be aspects, but they didn't show off all of them. I'm not sure like what can possibly roll. Hopefully there's going to be like a list of what it rolls, and I'll update you guys very soon if we get any info on that. But these are the brand new sanctified items. You can see how it works is that you're getting an additional stat line over here. So it could be some sort of different bonus that you're going to be getting, and it's kind of cool. Like for example, Grasp of Shadows over here, it's getting basically another aspect over here where like the days last longer and the dazing an enemy increases your movement speed. So this is something that randomly gets added. Now, one thing to take a note with the brand new Sanctification is the items become what's called unmodifiable. So you want to make sure that you do this at the very end. So get not only on your, with the uniques, I'm assuming it doesn't really matter as much, but like if you want to put a special aspect on it, they said if it is something that you can socket, you can change the sockets, but you can't really do anything else. So if you want to maybe change the aspect or do an enchant or the reroll over at the cultist, make sure you guys do this at the end. Now this works on uniques, it works on legendary items, and it works on the mythics. You guys can see over here the Shroud of False Death has, after casting 5 basic skills, one of your active cooldowns is reduced. So this is an aspect that you are getting in addition to the item stat. Now, I'm not sure if this just stays on the item permanently, because remember, Season 11 isn't going to last forever. So I'm curious to see what they actually do with it towards like the very end of the game. But as far as it goes, you just take it to an NPC over here. We got another like angel over here. And again, you're going to be blessing it, and it just looks like it costs one thing. It tells you again that you can't modify the item. So here's what they stated in their blog post. So it's a way to send your power to the angels and imbue it into your items. And so sanctifying an item has the chance, okay, so there's a chance to do this. So you have a chance to apply a bonus legendary power. So again, another aspect. You get to improve an affix into a greater affix. So if we look at an item here, I have an example of an item here that has already been blessed. So you guys can see visually kind of what it looks like. Remember, in Season 11, we can only get 1 temporary mod, but the items now roll with 4 mods. So that's another like brand new update over here that's kind of important to lock in. And it says adds a bonus affix from a pool of special sanctification affixes. So it's a brand new pool that we're probably getting as well. But again, it has a chance to do this. So you don't even know what you're going to get, and then once you do it, that's it. It can also replace an existing affix with a random sanctification affix. So you could lose something, which that's kind of bad, right? And then it says make your item indestructible, preventing it from losing durability. This is kind of a stupid one. Like, honestly, if I can give you some feedback on this, Blizzard, let me know, guys, what you think. Would you guys like the item to say indestructible and that's it? That's like a stupid mod. Like, no one really cares about like, oh, instead of getting another like aspect, instead I just don't have to repair the item, because the reason why I'm trying to tell Blizzard this is a terrible idea. 1, this is like a useless stat. 2, if you lose durability on your items, even if the whole mindset is, oh, if I get all of my like items to be unbreakable, like they're all Zod rune, like there's no ethereal items, it doesn't matter, right? And the thing is that unless you have all of your items indestructible, you're going to eventually have to repair your items regardless. But it's repairing in general in the action RPG like genre is just a stupid mechanic in my personal opinion. You guys can let me know how you feel about this, but like I just want to tell Blizzard that this is a stupid mod. Like this is basically like getting like, you know, 5 life per 20 seconds. Like that mod was so bad that they just didn't really, you know, no one really wants those mods. So this is basically a useless mod. Anyways, it makes it unmodifiable. It says it ends the item's journey. It should be the last upgrade you make. So that's like the brand new like update here. And again, you guys can see what it added over here. So it changes it. So this was Behemoth's Brawlers, right, where we have like casting and ultimate skills, and then it also has anger management attached to it, which is again the sanctified item, and it does not change the item power, as there is going to be also another update to the items damage that isn't tied to item power, but is tied to what now is called quality, which is actually going back to season 3. So yeah, it's kind of weird that they're like kind of reworking the whole in-game system in terms of item progression. I don't know why they're doing that. It's because it's kind of confusing. Okay, so the next items that I want to go over, guys, they don't have pictures of it, so we just gotta read it. So for Spiritborn, they're getting something called the Path of Emissary, which is a unique pair of boots. So you get movement speed, you get more movement speed, you get core skill damage, which I'm guessing this is additive. Unless it's like, you know, this is a 200x and that's kind of good. And then we have core skill ranks, and we have impairment reduction. Not too many insane things over here, but just the extra movement speed is definitely welcoming. But it has a unique power, which is every 12 to 4 meters you move, you get to invoke a core skill from your primary spirit hall, which I think is actually kind of cool to kind of have some sort of like build where maybe you can hybrid stuff. I like these kind of like cool ideas, and maybe we can apply some different debuffs to the enemies, especially if we like maybe run like battle events. We can get basically double skills to activate, right? Every 4 meters, because you'd get a good rolled one, and then you keep on getting like extra bonuses. I like this idea. This is actually probably one of the cooler ones here. And then next up for the other classes, Barbarian is getting a brand new pair of pants. So it's going to give you all stats, maximum life, cooldown reduction, and brawling skills. And its special unique power is casting a damaging brawling skills disables it afterwards. When all of these skills that are on your action bar are disabled, they become re-enabled with their cooldowns refreshed. So you get them all back again. Your brawling skills deal, 100x damage for each disabled skill. So let me go ahead and show you guys what that would look like. So we actually have a total of 5 brawling skills. Even though it shows that there's only 4 here, This one over here with Tactical Ground Stop can be converted. I don't know if there's any uniques that also can convert skills. Someone let me know down below if there is. But as far as I'm aware of, that's like 500x damage. So maybe you guys can make a kick build. Kick at one point in PvP was actually really good. And you can one-shot pretty much everything in the game. There's been a couple times where Kick has seen some bugs. So maybe think about Kick Barbarian coming back into the game if it somehow re-emerges here. So that's going to be kind of cool to mess around with. But I feel like a lot of people may not like this playstyle as it requires you to activate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you got to recycle everything. And remember, there's only one shout that is a brawling skill, and then obviously you usually want to run like a Wrath of the Berserker, so your bar is just going to be constantly just spammed. Next up though, we have a Druid item. These are another unique pair of boots over here, which gives you attacks, reduce evades cooldown. We have some movement speed, crowd control duration, nature magic cooldown reduction. That's a pretty chunky amount. At 25% getting that greater affix, that might be something that's kind of cool. But the unique power on the new Druid pair of boots, it says damaging 200 to 100 enemies with storm skills grants a charge. Casting any defensive skill will grant max movement speed and unhindered for 1 second. Unhindered, I believe, lets you move through enemies, and then gives it to you for 1 second for each charge used. While charged, enemies you run into are immobilized. So maybe if you're going to stack some sort of like bonuses against immobilized, that could be okay. I'm not sure how good that's going to be. I mean, like, yeah, you get to go kind of faster, but like you could just get like extra movement speed. I think it's really just this that makes it kind of exciting. If you really want like extra cooldown reduction, that could be something to consider. All right, so we also happen to have Grave Bloom, which is a brand new Necromancer item, and it gives us attack speed, and these are one-handed mace, attack speed in max life, transfer Golem to hit twice, and you also get Golem Mastery. So Golem might be the thing to lock into with Necromancer, and it says you raise 3 smaller Golems that each deal up to 60% of normal damage and gain 30% attack speed, and our Golems respawn even faster. So that's going to be kind of cool. I like this idea. If you guys haven't played Diablo 3, there is an item that's actually quite similar that the Witch Doctor had, and I like this idea. It's kind of cool. And then I already went over the Rogue one in the picture, so it's the Dance of Knives one, so we don't need to go over that again. And then we also went over the Sorc one, where it just gets to get increased damage. So those are all of the new uniques coming out into, of course, the new season. Let me know, guys, what you are the most excited about. I'm really curious to see what Blizzard does with the Sanctification and like these things where we take them to the high heavens, as I think it's a really cool idea, getting items blessed by the high heavens. But one thing I don't really like is the idea that like you can like max out an item and then you slam it at the very end, which is something that you do kind of like with Path of Exile when you, like, let's say Vol the item, because it could brick the item at the same time, because it gives you a random enchant, and the random enchant can replace an existing affix. And if you look at an item, maybe you really need to have like that one greater affix, and if it replaces that greater affix with your item becomes indestructible, that's like a garbage stat. You just literally bricked your item. And the thing with the tempering that made people frustrated with, right, is that you would just maybe brick a really good item. Whereas this, it's the same thing as a Vol Orb in Path of Exile, which, you know, I like that there is more options for crafting, but I would say Diablo is more on the casual side of things, and I can see casual players really not liking this because, again, you are adding another way to brick an item that you've already invested a lot into, because the final step after qualifying it up, after tempering and using that currency, because it's not going to be free to do this. You have to get like the super rare currency. And if these drop rates for these brand new Sanctification items are too rare, I see people getting a little bit frustrated. I already see people talking about the Chaos Armors being too hard to obtain for the casual player base, but you guys can let me know what you think about any of the things that we talked about down below for these brand new Sanctified blessed items and stuff. But I do think that adding new uniques is really cool to the game, and I think that honestly, I think that what Blizzard should do is make a bunch of generic uniques so there's more creativity versus like these are like one for every class. Because if the thing sucks, then it's just like, well, okay, there's nothing for the class, right? So I think 6 unique items that are generic would be way better than having one for each class, if that makes any sense, because again, creativity is much better. Anyways, you guys can let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you in the next video when we talk about the new Mythic updates.